You ever get woken up at 5 a.m. by the kind of noise that makes you wonder if you're still dreaming or just finally lost your mind? That's exactly what happened to me, flute music, drifting through the dark chimes, jingling someone out there, exhaling like a broken steam engine. I thought maybe a raccoon had gotten into my wind chimes again, or maybe I was just hallucinating from too much late night Netflix, but nope. When I peeked out the window, I just about dropped my phone. There they were, 8 women in blinding neon workout gear, led by none other than Karen herself, having a sunrise yoga session literally 2 feet from my pool. Not by it, not near it, right at the edge where my recliner usually lives, like my backyard was her personal day spa. For a second, I just stared, thinking maybe I was still asleep, until Karen spotted me and had the nerve to smile and say, "Good morning, isn't this energy just incredible?" Like she wasn't standing smack in the middle of my property. I barely had my wits about me, but I managed to ask Karen, "What are you doing on my lawn?" She starts rambling about some HOA wellness initiative, waving a pamphlet around, acting like her sunrise cult had a God-given right to take over my backyard. You know how these HOA folks are? They'll twist a rule so hard it snaps right back in your face. She tried telling me the bylaws say HOA can use adjacent green space, but last I checked, my yard wasn't a public park. I told her as much, and her friend shot me looks like I'd just kicked a puppy. Somebody even muttered that I was anti-community. I just shook my head and walked inside because, honestly, I wasn't about to start a shouting match with 8 caffeinated yoga warriors before I'd even had coffee. Here's the thing, though, I'm not exactly helpless. Last month I'd gotten tired of raccoons making a mess, so I splurged on a whole home security system, motion sensors, smart sprinklers, the works. Karen had no idea her little wellness retreat was about to turn into a full-on obstacle course. I sat at my kitchen table, sipped my coffee, and started plotting. I synced the sprinklers to the motion sensors, lined up the floodlights so they'd light up the yoga mats like a Broadway stage, and prepped my favorite feature, the hidden speakers. One file was my own voice, super robotic, warning, "You are trespassing on private property. Leave now." The other was goat screams I found online because, well, sometimes you gotta get weird to get results. But I wasn't done. I called up my cousin Ryan, he's a lawyer and lives for HOA drama. Sent him some photos, a video, and the pamphlet Karen left behind. He just about lost it laughing, said he'd draft a cease and desist so official-looking Karen would think she'd been served by the Supreme Court. I made sure to slap private property, no trespassing surveillance, in use, signs all over the place, just in case Karen decided to get creative with the HOA bylaws again. And I posted a little update in our neighborhood group chat. Nothing mean, just a heads up. Please respect private property. Motion sensors are active. The replies were gold. Half the neighbors cheering me on, half of Karen's yoga cult calling me the vibe police. Someone sent me a sunflower emoji. I still don't get it. Anyway, the next morning I was up before my alarm, nerves and adrenaline buzzing. I fired up my security app just in time to watch Karen and her crew sneak through the gate mats in hand. Karen strikes a pose like she's about to summon the sun herself. Then boom. The lights go on, the siren blares, the sprinklers fire up. Chaos. There's shrieking, slipping yoga mats flying everywhere. I'm watching through the window, coffee in hand, trying not to laugh as Karen screams at her followers to stay centered while getting blasted by cold water. One woman's wig ends up in the pool floating like a soggy tribble. Karen runs up to my back door, bangs on it, yells, "Turn this off, you maniac." I just cranked the speakers to opera at full blast and watched the whole soggy group stampede out the side gate. Let me back up a sec if you're thinking I went too far. Remember? Karen tried to find me later that morning. She showed up at my door with some janky-looking official HOA document, claimed I'd created a hostile environment, and owed her $500. I could hardly keep a straight face. Her evidence was a homemade spreadsheet about emotional distress from water deployment. I told her there's no rule against defending my property. Want to see what a real legal notice looks like? She stormed off, sunglasses hiding her rage, leaving the fake fine in my hand like it was radioactive. And here's where things get a little wild. Someone posted video of the yoga debacle to Facebook. It blew up overnight. The comments were brutal, play stupid yoga, win stupid prizes. Karen was not amused. She went door to door collecting signatures, swearing up and down I was ruining neighborhood unity. But the truth is, most people were sick of her power trips. When we had our next HOA meeting, folks actually showed up in T-shirts that said, "Namaste away from my yard." Karen tried to pass a rule banning motion sensors, and someone in the back yelled, "Tell it to the sprinklers." Even the president couldn't keep a straight face. Now here's the twist. Just when I thought I'd won, Karen tried to get clever. 3 days later, I get a bogus violation notice taped to my front door accusing me of hostile surveillance and automated response tactics. I snapped a photo, sent it to Ryan, and he called me up fuming. She does this again, we're going for harassment. So I upgraded, added thermal cams, reprogrammed the speakers to say, "Karen, we know it's you. Reconsider your life choices." I made sure everything was bulletproof legally and technologically. A few nights later, just past midnight, I'm watching my cameras and spot Karen and 2 of her friends sneaking in like amateur ninjas. As soon as they hit the motion zone, the whole yard lights up, floodlights barking, dogs, sirens, even a fart sound I couldn't resist programming. Then the sprinklers hit them dead on, and within seconds, they're soaked and scrambling. I called the cops, who caught Karen outside my fence yelling at her friends. The officer took one look at her, said, "That's strike 3. Karen, let's go." She got cuffed right there, still dripping wet, screaming about psychological warfare. The fallout, Karen got suspended from all HOA activities. The Karen rule was born. Nobody could act for the HOA alone again. For a whole week, my yard was peaceful. No sunrise yoga, no culty chanting, just birds and my dog Beans wagging his tail at the quiet. But you know Karen, she couldn't just let it go. On day 8, I see her out front at 5 a.m. with 2 new minions setting up candles in a circle on my driveway, a silent meditation trying to find another loophole. But she didn't know about the new glitter foam drone. One press, and she was showered in pink sparkles, shrieking about her sensitive skin as she slid down the driveway, candles scattering. The video went viral again. Next day, the HOA president showed up at my door, this time with an official letter. Karen was out. Her fines were wiped. They even offered me a seat on the board, but I turned it down. I just wanted my peace. A week later, Karen's house went on the market, and the only thing left behind was a glitter stain in my driveway. As her moving van pulled away, my final message echoed from the hidden speaker, "Namaste somewhere else." So here I am, finally able to drink my coffee in peace. But let me ask you, did I go too far, or did Karen get what was coming? What would you have done if your neighbor tried to turn your backyard into a cult? Headquarters at 5 a.m. Drop your take in the comments. Let's hear where you stand on neighborhood drama justice and just how far is too far.